This is Mr. Raphael. In this video, I'm going to model for you how I go about writing the opening to my memoir. In the last video, I modeled for you how I came up with a title and a quote for my memoir. And here it is here. And I mentioned in that last video that the title, the quote, and the memoir itself all need to be connected and go together. So with this title and the quote, my reader should have a pretty good sense that the memoir I'm going to focus on is going to show me helping somebody else. So in writing the opening, there are many things I need to consider. A memoir does have narrative elements in it, so I do want to make sure that I go in chronological order. I want to start from the beginning of the event, move through the middle, and then to the end. I know in the beginning of a memoir it's really important to show the kind of person I was at the beginning of the small moment. Memoir is all about showing how a moment in your life has changed who you are or has shaped you in some way. And notice that the word show is here. Just like good narrative writing in memoir, you want to make sure you show rather than tell. And I know in an opening for a memoir, just like an opening for a narrative, there are different ways that you can start. You can present a thought, you can start with a thought, you can start with an action, you can start with dialogue. These are all effective. You just have to choose the one that you think would work best. So for my opening, I think I'm going to start with a thought. And I really want to get across the kind of person I was at the beginning. And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, I want to get across this point that I was kind of selfish and self-centered. But since I'm going to show it, I don't want to use the word selfish, and I don't want to use that phrase self-centered. So I need to show it. So when I saw the old man 2 blocks away from me, the first thing I thought was, please don't stop me. I just wanted to get to Starbucks and have my morning coffee. So that's the thought that I'm going to start with. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start writing my first sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and hit tab to indent and get started here. So my thought was, please don't stop me. That was the first thought that popped into my mind when now I'm going to be a little writerly here. I'm not just going to say when I saw the old man, but when I spotted, this is when my narrative writing skills, descriptive writing is about being a good narrative writer. And I'm going to try to describe what I actually saw. So I spotted what I thought was an 80, guy was about 80 years old, an 80-ish year, I'm kind of having funny with the ish here, the 80-ish year old man. He was 2 blocks away. And I want to give the reader a sense of how the old man was moving, because when I saw him I was thinking this man needed some help. So 2 blocks away, and what was he doing? He was shuffling. He was shuffling down the alleyway toward me. Okay, so at this point I'm trying to get across the kind of person I was. At the beginning of this small moment, I felt like I was a selfish and self-centered person, but again, since I'm showing rather than telling, I'm not going to actually use that explicit language. So I want to continue to show that selfishness. What was I selfish about? Well, I was on my way to Starbucks. So I was on my way at 7 in the morning. And you know what? I just didn't want this guy to get in my way. I didn't want him to stop me. And I did not want this, I'm going to call him an old timer. I already said old man. Mix up your language. To postpone. For some reason I don't like the word stop here. I think postpone is better because I knew eventually I would get to Starbucks even if he stopped me. Postpone my meeting, or I like the French word rendezvous. It sounds good. I like that, rendezvous. Postpone my rendezvous with my morning cup of coffee. That's what I like to do, and I thought this man was going to get in that way, and gosh darn it, I didn't want him to get in my way. So I want all that to come across, and I do that by sharing my thoughts and showing rather than telling. So I'm writing an opening, and an opening is short, and I'm getting ready to wrap up my opening. So I want what we call a closing to the opening. And a closing to an opening for a memoir, I think, should kind of hint at the theme. Kind of come back to that title, kind of come back to that quote, and give the reader a sense of this change, that change took place in you, or in this case, in me. You know, in the middle of this small moment when I actually helped the man, as I said earlier, all I was concerned with was helping him. I wasn't concerned with how it was going to help me. I came to the realization that when you help someone else, you help yourself later, after I had a chance to stop and reflect and look back. So I'm going to start writing my closing here. So call it fate. Call it serendipity. Sometimes I like repeating certain phrases. I think that's effective. Call it whatever you want. That old man, you know, he did stop me, so I have to give a reader a sense of what I'm going to write about later. That old man did stop me, and he changed my life forever. Now is not the time to tell exactly how he changed my life. Those details will come out later on in the memoir. So that's my opening. And now the reader just has to read on to see how this old man changed my life. What did I do? What did he do? And kind of see how I choose to zoom in on specific parts of my encounter with him to illustrate the lesson that I learned. So there you have my opening.